Marcus Garvey's influence on Kwame Nkrumah. What if everything you thought you knew about Africa's fight for freedom only told half the story? Before Ghana's independence, before Kwame Nkrumah stepped onto the world stage, there was another man, a visionary, a rebel, a Black Moses, and his dream lit the fire that would blaze across continents. Welcome to My Blackness 100, the home of untold Black history, unstoppable achievement, and revolutionary truths. If you're here to reclaim what school never taught you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Today, we're uncovering the hidden connection between Marcus Garvey and Kwame Nkrumah, two giants from different continents, bound by one radical mission: Black unity, economic power, total liberation. From the Black Star Line to the Black Star on Ghana's flag, from Pan-African dreams to political revolution, we're connecting the dots the history books left out. Stick around, because once you see how Garvey's legacy shaped Nkrumah's rise, you'll never look at Black history the same way again. This isn't just a story, it's a blueprint for the future. Throughout history, revolutionary leaders have drawn strength from those who came before them, visionaries whose ideas lit the path toward freedom. One such bond, powerful and often overlooked, is between Marcus Garvey, the Pan-African firebrand from Jamaica, and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's first president and the face of African liberation. But this isn't just a story of influence. It's the story of a torch passed across oceans, from the diaspora to the motherland, one that helped ignite the movement for Black unity, self-reliance, and independence. Let's dive into 10 powerful ways Garvey's legacy helped shape Nkrumah's mission, not just for Ghana, but for Black people across the globe. 1. Black unity and Pan-Africanism. Garvey's belief in global Black unity wasn't just philosophy. It was a revolutionary strategy to connect scattered African people under one banner. He called us to remember that whether we're in Ghana, Jamaica, the US, or Brazil, our oppression had common roots, and so must our liberation. Nkrumah fully internalized this, using Garvey's ideology to guide his vision for a continent free and united. This idea still powers movements tagged under Pan-African unity, global Black consciousness, and African diaspora connection, keywords that drive traffic to content about Black collective power. In the age of digital activism, Garvey and Nkrumah's legacy lives on through online movements like #AfricaUnite and #ReclaimBlackPower. These campaigns mirror the original call for unity across borders, language, and class. Nkrumah didn't just speak of unity. He attempted to build it through summits, treaties, and even attempts at regional unification. For any video titled "Why Pan-Africanism Still Matters" or "Garvey to Nkrumah: The Power of Black Solidarity," you're not just telling history, you're fueling an ongoing call for Black self-determination. 2. Economic self-reliance. Garvey's mantra, "Buy Black," wasn't just about business, it was about survival. He knew that without controlling our economies, Black people would remain dependent, vulnerable, and exploited. He formed ventures like the Negro Factories Corporation and the Black Star Line to create jobs, products, and pride. His call for Black economic empowerment laid the foundation for generations of entrepreneurs and activists who now push terms like Black Wall Street, financial independence, and Black Business Directory into mainstream search trends. Nkrumah picked up that torch on a national scale, turning Garvey's grassroots call into policy. His push for industrialization through state-owned enterprises aimed to wrestle Ghana away from colonial trade patterns and into economic sovereignty. Though some projects faced challenges, the vision was clear: Africa must own its wealth. Today, this vision reemerges through platforms like AFCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Area, and movements that promote made-in-Africa goods. YouTube audiences are hungry for content that links past economic battles to current strategies for Black wealth building. 3. National pride and symbolism. Symbols are the language of the soul, and Garvey understood this deeply. His creation of the red, black, and green Pan-African flag wasn't random. It was deliberate. Each color held meaning. The blood we shed, the skin we wear, the land we claim. That symbolism became the emotional glue for a people disconnected by oceans. Garvey's Black Star line emblem became cultural expressions and searchable under terms like Pan-African colors, Black pride symbols, and Garvey flag meaning. Nkrumah saw the strategic power in those visuals. By placing the Black Star at the heart of Ghana's identity, in the flag, on ships, and in national discourse, he transformed it into a living legacy. Even Ghana's football team is called the Black Stars, keeping the imagery alive on global stages. That's not coincidence. That's nation branding with a liberation purpose. For creators and educators, content centered on symbolism in African politics or meaning of Ghana's Black Star hooks both curiosity and cultural relevance. 4. Mass mobilization techniques. Garvey was a master organizer. Long before social media, he built a network that reached millions. He understood the power of printed media, launching the Negro World to distribute radical Black thought across continents. Through pageantry, uniforms, and rallies, he gave everyday people a sense of belonging and urgency. Today, these techniques are studied by social media activists who replicate them through hashtags, challenges, and short-form video. If you're producing content on grassroots Black organizing or Garvey's UNI strategy, you're tapping into an evergreen message. Nkrumah used these same tactics in Ghana with stunning effect. His slogans, like "Self-Government Now," were simple, powerful, and repeated everywhere. He utilized radio broadcasts to reach the masses, much like today's podcasts or YouTube Lives. His approach to political education blended inspiration with strategy, drawing in young minds and older skeptics alike. When planning videos around how to mobilize for Black power or communication strategies in African liberation, these stories provide compelling examples rooted in action, not theory. 5. The fight against colonialism. Marcus Garvey's words cut through passivity like a knife. Africa must be free. He didn't negotiate with colonialism, he condemned it. He understood that colonialism wasn't just political, it was psychological, economic, and cultural domination. His message challenged Africans and the diaspora to reject imperial loyalty and demand full sovereignty. That's why search terms like Garvey anti-colonial stance, Black resistance to empire, and African liberation ideology continue to drive interest in Pan-African content. Nkrumah brought that resistance into sharp focus when he led Ghana to independence in 1957. But he didn't stop there. He used his platform to support anti-colonial struggles across Africa, offering funding and refuge to revolutionaries. From Algeria to Congo, his government became a launch pad for liberation. For videos exploring how Ghana inspired African freedom or Nkrumah and the fall of colonialism, the historical impact is undeniable, and the emotional pull is still strong. It's not just history. It's a call to remain vigilant against modern forms of colonization. 6. Use of Black Star imagery. The Black Star was more than a design. It was Garvey's vision rendered in form. It signaled navigation, destiny, and pride in self-direction. Garvey wanted Black people to follow their own star, not Europe's. That symbolism still resonates today in Pan-African fashion, art, and even branding. Search queries like Black Star meaning, Garvey symbolism, and African heritage design prove how relevant the icon remains in culture and commerce. Nkrumah made sure the Black Star wasn't just remembered, it was enshrined. He placed it atop Ghana's independence arch, marking a new chapter in African agency. It became a reminder to every citizen that Ghana's freedom was connected to a larger African liberation. The image still sparks conversations in both academic and creative spaces. If you're curating content titled The Black Star, From Garvey to Ghana, or Symbols of African Freedom, you're not just informing, you're awakening cultural memory. 7. Global Black Consciousness. Garvey's genius was that he saw no distance between Harlem, Accra, Kingston, or London. His UNI chapters around the world carried one message: we are one people. His movement taught diasporic Africans to think globally, but act locally, a concept now mirrored in platforms like Africans Rising or Black Lives Matter Global Network. YouTube searches for African diaspora history, Garvey's global impact, or Black internationalism show a strong appetite for this interconnected vision. Nkrumah didn't just agree with Garvey, he built on it. He invited Black scholars, artists, and revolutionaries from around the world to Ghana. From W.E.B. Du Bois to Malcolm X, Ghana became the intellectual center for Pan-African thought. Today, this legacy echoes in efforts like Year of Return and African Diaspora Repatriation. For content creators telling stories about returning to Africa, Pan-African tourism, or Black intellectual heritage, Nkrumah's Ghana is both origin and destination. 8. A focus on political awakening and education. Garvey understood that no chain could hold a mind that had been awakened. That's why he focused so heavily on consciousness, building schools, printing materials, and educating Black people about their history. His belief that liberation begins with education sparked a movement of self-study and self-empowerment. That's why searches for Garvey and education, Black history teaching, and decolonized curriculum remain relevant to audiences hungry for truth and clarity. Nkrumah implemented that philosophy on a national scale. He believed education wasn't a privilege, it was a revolutionary necessity. He expanded schools, built universities, and created scholarships aimed at developing African leadership from within. His focus on STEM and critical thinking was not just to modernize Ghana, but to outgrow the mental chains of colonization. Videos about Kwame Nkrumah education policy, or building African leaders through learning, remain key for audiences interested in how minds fuel movements. 9. A vision for a united Africa. Garvey's dream of a United States of Africa was bold but grounded in logic. He saw how Europe united to dominate, while Africa remained fragmented and exploited. His message was clear: unite or perish. This vision inspires hashtags like #UnitedAfrica, #OneAfrica, and discussions around African continental free trade. Content that explores this idea, whether historical or futuristic, taps into a hunger for collective progress. Nkrumah tried to actualize that dream through policy, pushing for a single currency, a continental army, and coordinated development. Though political divisions slowed the progress, his vision laid the groundwork for what would later become the African Union. Today, debates about African unity still echo his voice. Videos titled Why Nkrumah Wanted a United Africa, or Garvey's African Federation Vision, gained traction by connecting past efforts to modern geopolitical realities. 10. Promotion of Black leadership. Garvey's call to be your own leaders was a rejection of saviorism. He urged Black people not to wait for validation or permission to lead. He cultivated leadership through his UNI ranks, promoting everyday workers into community leaders. Search terms like Garvey on Black leadership, Black self-governance, and African empowerment through leadership bring new generations back to this message. Nkrumah echoed this by ensuring Ghana's independence wasn't symbolic, it was real, with Ghanaian leadership at every level. He also invested in training future African heads of state and supported liberation groups continent-wide. His support helped usher in Black-led governments in places like Guinea, Congo, and Tanzania. If your video focuses on Black leadership development, Nkrumah's Pan-African support, or Garvey's leadership legacy, you're giving voice to a struggle that is still unfolding. If this inspired you, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and like this video. Stay tuned for more untold truths, deep dives, and empowering stories right here on My Blackness 100.
Stay proud.
Stay Black, and never stop learning.